Hi there, welcome back. So in the previous lesson I showed you how to do the tiles for your border, and this is okay to do a border without the corners, so you can just use that technique. But if you want to add corners to your design so that it will sort of create a closed frame, so you can repeat these corners at the top and you will have a frame. So like I showed you for in the lesson for the Adobe Illustrator part, where you have a frame for example for a tablecloth. So you can do this by hand as well. And I've traced this with an ink pen. It was a 0.8, so quite thick for this drawing, which is quite small, but I'm sure it will be better for you to see. So I forgot to put the little dots in there. And for the corner, it's the same principle. So you start drawing your corner, do your own design from the sort of center of it, and then when you are approaching the edges, you put your tile in there, which you already have prepared, and you make them match, so it will look like a seamless drawing. And you do the same for this side. Now, to make the other corner, so if you do the one on the left, you want to make the other corner on the right, you can't use the same tile, because if you just move it, it will look the other side. So what you need to do is to actually turn this that way. And if you look at them in this way, you can see that they are facing the same direction once this is turned. So let me show you again. So you don't have a corner here, you have a corner here. You want to do the same corner on this side, you just turn it and put it on this side. Now you can just use that one, and then you do this on Illustrator once you have traced it, so you don't need to draw another one. But if you get confused and you prefer to have all your bits and pieces, you can just do this corner, then turn it and put a blank piece of paper on top of it and do the other drawing. So I'm sure I don't need to draw this again, because basically this is what it looks like, and you can see it matches with this drawing. Okay, if it's not clear or anything, or the whole process is not clear, just let me know, write in the comments, and I can do the whole thing for you and I can explain it to you. But this is basically all there is to it. You just have to turn this the other side, like a reflection. And the same applies for the tiles going up the sides. So once you have this corner done, then you want this tile to continue on this side, and what happens is you just have to turn it. So you see from here it just turns that way, and hopefully you can see this, it matches. So it's like this tile here. And again, you can actually, after you have this ready, turn this tile, put a blank piece of paper on top of it and draw it like I did here, and you will end up with this corner. So basically, once you have this corner, you can have the entire frame, because you just repeat this, and you repeat this, but just have to remember to turn it. Okay, so this is basically all you need to know for the corner frame. If you want, I can now draw this. So you have this, I'm going to turn it and I can draw it for you, and I can show you like I did before. When you get close to the edges, just put it next to this one and and make it a seamless repeat. But if you have the concept clear, then you can just skip to the next lesson. Okay, and I'm going to speed this up a little bit while I'm drawing. Okay, so here's the first corner, your tiles, and then once you get around here, when it's the first time you do your design, you just make sure you match your tiles and you match your design, and you do the same thing up here as well. Make sure they match. It's a bit more tricky to do when you're not using a post-it because they don't stick down, but again, when you turn it, the sticky bit will be sticking to your hands, and it's not very good that either. So make sure they match, and then you make an exact copy. And for this is the same. So you turn this that way. Oops, I'm getting myself confused. There we go. So that's that way, and that's that way. So you turn this that way, and you check that they match. So if you can see here, they match, and then you put a blank piece of paper on top of it, and you trace it, and you have your tile for the top. Okay, I don't think there's anything else. I think I've mentioned this before. I put little symbols where they match up so I can find them again. And then the next step now is to trace this. So you can take a picture, you can use your iPad, your phone, or a camera, or you can scan these. And you can scan just the one corner, or you can do all of them if it makes it easier for you to do that. And then once you have it in Illustrator, you can carry on with your design. And of course, remember, if you want to image trace this, make sure you get rid of all the pencil lines once the ink is dry. So it's nice. Ooh, it's flying away. It's nice and clean. And also try to have an idea of the type of design you want to do, because if you want to change the color of your line, if they are touching like these ones, put it a bit closer. See, these lines here are touching the flowers, so they're all connected, except maybe these ones. But if they're touching like this, then if you delete it, it will be deleting everything, so the stems as well. And if you change the color, it will change the color of the whole thing. So if you want to have the possibility of deciding different colors for these, or if you want to actually delete the outlines after you have colored this, then make sure these lines don't actually touch with the flowers, because otherwise once you delete the outlines of the flowers, these will go too, and you will be left with this little flower without a stem. I mean, you can always add the stem afterwards, but it's a bit, I don't think it will look quite right. So just try and decide before if you want to have the outline or not. And if you're in doubt, you can always leave it without touching, and then you can just adjust it afterwards. You can elongate this and make it touch afterwards. I'm going to redraw this, so I'm not going to worry about it touching or not. But you can use either way, so either image trace or redraw this. If you want to redraw this like I'm going to do, then you can do that with the mouse. That's for sure if you want. But I find that the use of a drawing tablet, it's quite useful. And Mine is quite cheap. It's one of those Intus M, I think, M like Milan, and it wasn't expensive at all. I don't remember how much it cost, but it was quite cheap. You don't need to have very fancy stuff, but it does the job quite well. Okay, so I will see you in the next lesson for the next steps.